Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Caps to the far corner and Pat Maroon. Lightning are 4-0 to start this game in the circle. Maroon lines for Belmar in the left wing to center ice. Cross a Zach Bogosian across the New York line to the right circle. Knifing in front. Shot save made. Rebound score! Pat Maroon! Well, there was one of those rebounds we were talking about, Phil, and Maroon jabs in a backhander to make it 1-0 Lightning.
And that's what we had, right? Opening the scoring. A great move by Zach Bogosian to set up Patty Maroon to make it 1-0 and get the Amalie Arena crowd just going. Welcome into the JP Peterson Show as the Lightning win Game 4 and even the series 4-1. Oh, please, everybody retweet all the Ranger fans' tweets from Game 1 and Game 2. Go back in your timelines, retweet, and ask them, well, that didn't age well, did it? It's the Rangers' time. The Lightning are done. Shesterkin's the best goalie in the game. You've had your time. This is the young and up-and-coming crew. Really? Oh, really? And what did we say? Not so fast. Takes 4, and here we sit, tied at 2. Not surprised on this end. Maybe you're surprised over there. Welcome into the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. You can find him at palermopa.com and up in section 20 whatever, screaming his head off with his whole family last night like everybody else was at Amalie Arena. My goodness, Nick Geddes, you were there last night producing for one of the national radio broadcasts with Micheletti and who's the play-by-play guy? John Forsling. Yeah, I mean, legends, working with the legends last night.
Yeah, I had a pretty good night, I'd say.
Yeah.
Just beyond the game, but great experience. Amalie was rocking last night.
It was really fun last night.
I tell you what, I said some things. I said it was the quietest crowd of the 4, but last night was as loud as I think I've ever heard it. And not as many Ranger fans, I thought, as there was on Sunday.
No, definitely not. A few obnoxious ones, but I think they can see the writing on the wall after Game 3. The tide has turned. There's no doubt about that. Listen, you know how much I don't like patting myself or our show on the back all the time when we predict things and we kind of, but Brian Bradley, we've been talking about this since the beginning of the series, since Game 1, since Game 2, that clearly the Lightning were rusty. They're going to get their legs back while the Rangers maybe start to fade a little bit. And I think we saw that turn and maybe, as Coop said, 8 minutes left in Game 3 or Game 2, I should say. And I think it's just continued since then. I mean, it's so you see the recency bias and even, see some of the local media jumping off the bandwagon in Games 1 and 2. And you're just like, man, you cover this team and you still don't get it. My goodness. I mean, this is a resilient team that finds a way with their experience, their analysis of the game, their the adjustments that they make and the ability, the talent and the hockey IQ to inflict those adjustments on the other team and shut them down. And that's exactly, it's been clinical by this Lightning team.
Yeah, if you needed to put it in simplest terms, the Lightning look like a team that's won championships before.
No, by the way,
it's just it's as easy to break it down right there. You really don't have to go much further. I mean, Game 3, they shut it down completely. It just overwhelmed New York. Yeah. And then yesterday, they didn't really give them an opportunity, I think, to even get into that game. No. They just took it away from them from the beginning.
Yeah, and they've been doing this to a lot of different teams. They did it to the Panthers. They did it to Toronto once they got down in that series. And you shouldn't be surprised by it. You should not be surprised by it. Yes, at some point they'll lose, and they might lose the series. I mean, the Rangers I'd say the Rangers are a good team. They're up and coming. But I stick to my analysis that I had from the very beginning of this series, that this is a team that is on the rise, got some good young players, no doubt about it, and got some great players in Kreider and Zibanejad. Yeah, I mean, Trouba, it's a very good team. You don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals by faking it, but they've been propped up by Shesterkin. He's a phenomenal goalie. He was phenomenal last night until the Lightning just got the best of him in a couple of situations. I think the Lightning, I don't know what the expected goals are, but I'd say Shesterkin's numbers in that category are pretty damn good. I mean, he's kept them in the series. There's no question about it. And Vasi's been his lockdown self here at Amalie Arena. It's exactly what we expected. His goals in the last 2 games for Vasi, 954 save percentage and a 1.5 goals against. I mean, that's what he does. And that's exactly what we expected him to do when we got back to Amalie Arena. So none of this is a surprise, but it's also extraordinary. And that's saying something. When you have a dynastic team like the Tampa Bay Lightning are, and I don't think there's any question. I don't think they have to win a third cup, frankly, to be a dynasty. 6 Eastern Conference Finals, 3 finals in 8 years, and now maybe 4. I mean, that's a dynasty. In the salary cap era, are you effing kidding me? That's a dynasty. Not even, I think it's more impressive than what the Islanders did because there was no salary cap back then. You could keep everybody together, which they did. So this to me is way more, I won't say way more impressive, but to me, it's a dynasty. And this is what we're watching. And we may take it for granted at times, but you shouldn't. This is special, special stuff.
Yeah, I would say dynasty, I do like to, a general rule of thumb, I like to see 3.
Yeah.
Right? Like Pittsburgh got the 3. Chicago got the 3 in 5 years? And that was with the core of Kane, Taves, Keith, Crawford.
Yep.
The difference is the Lightning have kept a core together of 9, 10, 11 guys for the last 6, 7 years. That's where
in a salary cap
era. That's where they set themselves apart. But they look like they're well on their way because, at the moment, and listen, it's hard for New York because you can't undersell when you don't have 2 of your top centers in the lineup. It is difficult. It's difficult. And there was no Ryan Strome yesterday. I saw him in pregame warmup, and he was kind of sitting there by the red line, just kind of passing pucks along. Thought he was going to play. Gallant said he thought he was going to play, and he didn't play, which was a little surprising. And then Hedl got hurt in the second period. I think Hedman kind of crunched him against the board. He didn't return.
Yeah.
So when you're playing without 2 of your top centermen, it's going to be hard on you no matter what. So I cut New York a little bit of slack there.
The first game, they lost the faceoff percentage too.
Yeah, first game. I cut them a little bit of slack there. But at the same time, I thought the Lightning, just the job they did, especially against Zibanejad and Kreider and Panarin 5v5, they've had nothing the past 2 games.
I hear Lightning fans yelling at you, by the way, saying Braden Point. Our best player, our best 2-way player.
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
With that, those 2 guys equal Braden Point, I would say.
I think it's a little different because Lightning have known they're not having Braden Point.
Yeah, true.
In the middle of the series, middle of the game, you lose those guys.
True. But still, and they're still, and to be able to do what they're doing without Braden Point again,
it's
phenomenal.
It's crazy,
phenomenal because he's kind of your jack of all trades. I mean, if you're a coach, you want to have that Swiss Army knife, and he's that guy. You can tell him to go do whatever you want him to do, and he's going to do it at a very high level. You don't have that chess piece. That's like taking your queen away on the chessboard. I mean, he's your most versatile and most dangerous player. Now you got to go win that chess match without that piece. That's tough to do. But this coaching staff, and we were going to talk about this, so it's a good time to transition into it. John Cooper. John Cooper is he's the longest tenured coach in the NHL by far. And you look at, yesterday, Boston fires Bruce Cassidy.
Yes.
They look like they're dismantling their team. There's reports they're going to trade Pasternak. Marchand and McAvoy aren't going to be ready for the beginning of the regular. I mean, that's a team in complete disarray. Gerard Gallant, comes to the Rangers and Vegas fires him. And it's just, it seems like in hockey, we fire coaches so quickly. Like there's no patience at all. And look how the Lightning have been rewarded by keeping John Cooper.
You have to think.
Let's give a little notch to Jeff Vinik.
Oh yeah, a big one. But you go back to before the collapse against Columbus, they gave him an extension.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
And I think a lot of Lightning fans went, really? We haven't won anything yet.
There was some eyebrows raised.
And then you go get swept.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, we just signed this guy to an extension.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was a very popular guy around here until they finally won the Bubble Cup.
And people will say, well, of course they're not going to fire. He's went to the Eastern Conference Finals, went to the final, blah, blah, blah. Why would you? Coaches get fired. Look at Barry Trotz won the damn cup. He left right out. It's a little weird how easily we we toss our coaches away. But if there is a team that is a living personification of patience and continuity, it's your Tampa Bay Lightning and John Cooper.
Well, I think that's what Jeff Vinik prides himself on, having an organization that has stability like that and keeping the same guys together. And if you we talked about it, I think a few days ago, in regards to that peripheral rock, you just keep pounding away at it with the same core. At some point, you're going to break through. And the Lightning trusted in that. Now you're sitting on 2 cups, going for a third. So, yeah, John Cooper, I think, kind of how we had that discussion about Bruce Arians not getting enough credit for turning around the Bucks. I think John Cooper, I think he gets his flowers here and there, but you have to give him credit because, I mean, coaching is a big part of the NHL too, and making adjustments on the fly and getting the lines together. And when a star goes out, finding the guy to replace them. And then you make a new line, hence Cirelli, Paul Hagel, who, by the way, has been the best line for the Lightning in the series, probably shut down the entire top New York line.
Arguably, yeah.
So that, again, that's coaching.
It is. And we're going to hear from John Cooper here in a little bit, a very interesting post-game interview and revealing he touches on a lot of different subjects. But I would say that I just, still he doesn't get enough credit. He doesn't give enough credit. He doesn't get enough credit from the national media. There's always been this thought of, he's always had a Ferrari. Anybody can drive a Ferrari. And yeah, this team is loaded with talent. But again, there's talented teams all over the NHL. I mean, look at Edmonton. Look at some of these other teams that have incredible talent, and they don't do what the Lightning do. And I'm not saying it's all Cooper. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes I don't think he gets enough of credit.
Yeah, and even like before the game last night, he was asked about like Nikita Kucherov, what do you kind of say to him? What do you do? And he had a really good answer. He's like, I try to, you kind of deal with the bad things he does on the ice because everything he does that's good overweighs it. And with regards to like talking to him, you kind of have to let him be, rein him in a little bit, but just kind of let him be. And it was a fascinating answer he gave on how to deal with a star player because, they're very precious, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's part of it too. He's been with Nikita Kucherov.
I think it's
like
a huge part of it.
Been with him for a decade. You got to learn how this guy operates, how he works, keep him happy. And Nikita Kucherov, again, last night, probably the best player on the ice.
I think that's the underestimated part about Coop is managing personalities and stars and knowing how to motivate players in different ways is a very underrated part of coaching, I think, these days, because, it's not something that you can look at from an X's and O's standpoint and kind of analyze it work or not. And a ton of it we don't see. It's all behind the scenes. We don't see on Front Street his relationship with Nikita Kucherov and how he handles him. And everybody knows. I mean, it's kind of like a known thing that Russian players can be very temperamental. That's kind of like the I hate the stereotype, but that's kind of the NHL stereotype of Russian players. They can be temperamental. I think they would even admit to that. So how do you handle those guys in times of triumph and in times of 4-minute minors and a crucial third period? I mean, terrible giveaways. There are times when Cooper must just want to bench his ass and has benched his ass at earlier points in his career.
Listen, every star at some point, if you're a great coach, I mean, look, fitting to say this right now because yesterday was the 18th anniversary of 2014.
Right.
You covered that team.
I did indeed.
There was a time where I believe John Tortorella sat down Marty St. Louis a little bit.
I don't think he ever sat Marty, but he sat Vinny.
He sat Vinny. I know that.
Yeah.
I remember they had a little thing.
I don't know, but Marty was.
Well, wasn't there the thing where Marty said he wanted more ice time?
Yeah.
He wanted to be out there more. That's what I meant more.
Yeah, there was.
But Vinny, I know.
Tortorella's in style, completely different than John Cooper's.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing that they have in common is even though, there was maybe some public spats with, quote, in quotes, not huge things with Vinny, he and Vinny, Vinny will tell you right now how he came to respect Tortorella. Hated him at first, and they came to respect him and made him a much better player and did that with all those guys. Tortorella had a great relationship with his players. As gruff as he was on the outside or is on the outside, inside, the dude's a teddy bear. He really is. Torts is the best. I've seen him, those off ice times dealing with people, and people would go, "Is that John Tortorella?" Yeah, he walks around with a smile on his face. I used to go to his fishing tournament all the time, and he's just a great guy. He's just a great family man, and as different a personality off the ice as you'll see. but he had the trust of the players, and they really, and he had their back as well. And I think Cooper, that's something that they both have. Those are relationships that are bedrocked, and they're a huge part of what the Lightning has done. All right, we're going to get into the goals, and we're going to get into some posts, but I got to set up the show for you a little bit as we, run off a little bit at the beginning here. Brad Johnson's going to join us at 10:30. Super Bowl quarterback for the Buccaneers, that Brad Johnson. He's going into the Tampa Sports Club Hall of Fame tonight, which I'm privileged to MC this evening, which is going to be really nice. For me especially, because the people that are going to be there tonight and are going in, Gail Sirens, I work with for 10 years at News Channel 8. We're going to induct her into the Tampa Sports Club Hall of Fame tonight. One of my dear friends. We've had her on the show. I'm probably going to get her on tomorrow. Brad's going to join us today. And, I've known Brad since he was a freshman at Florida State, for 30 years, 25 years. One of the best dudes on the planet that I've ever met. He's going to join us at 10:30. Always fun to talk to Big Bad Brad. And we're not only going to reminisce, but, his son, Max and Jake are now at Texas A&M and with Jimbo Fisher, and part of that incredible recruiting class that they put together. And, I'm going to sit here and say it right now. They're going to win a national championship in the next 3-4 years. Unless Jimbo screws it up with his on-field coaching, but they got talent. So Brad will join us. We'll talk about all things Buccaneers and what's going on at A&M as well. And Brian Bradley's going to join us at 11 o'clock. And I wanted to hit the Rays here real quick. Big walk-off last night. If you want to play that, Taylor Walls, while I set this up. And I'll ruin it for you, the on-field stuff. Because the off-field stuff, we talked about this yesterday. And the last 2 days. How does your owner price your fans out of a game? It's exactly what happened last night. There were 7,000 people there, of which people that were at the game, Braves fans, were tweeting at me and texting me. It's like there's 90% Cardinal fans here. 90%. And everybody's going to lose their mind. The national media is going to lose their mind. Oh, my God, Rays fans don't even show up for their team. You priced your own fans out of the market. You knew, because Stu knows the Cardinal fans are going to pay. They're going to pay. They're and the Cardinals used to train here. They have a big contingent here. He knows that they're going to pay because it's 3 games, the only 3 games they'll play here in 4 or 5 years. He knows he's going to get the money from them. So he's going to jack up the prices and soak them. But what does that do? That prices your own fans out of the market. When it's $55 with fees for an outfield seat, local fans aren't going to go. They're just not going to do it. They'll wait till the prices come down. So how do you as an owner price your own fans out of your own freaking stadium? I mean, that's just disgusting. How effing greedy are you to do that? I mean, is that not the biggest middle finger to your own fans? My God. And nobody else is going to talk about this because number one, they don't probably realize it. And number two, they just won't talk about it. The Times isn't going to talk about it. DAE is not going to talk about it. The fans should talk about it. They should be outraged. And if I swear to God, if I read one thing, and you will, and there's probably already out there, oh, where are the Rays fans tonight? Well, they're watching their Lightning, number one, because their owner actually gives a shit about them as fans. And they're in the playoffs. I get that. But that game, by the way, didn't start till, the Lightning game started at 8 o'clock. This game started what, 7?
Was it 6:40, right?
No, I think it was actually a 7:10 start. I think it was a 7:10 start last night. But anyway, doesn't matter. You priced your own fans out of the market. It's disgusting. It's awful. And you know who it really sucks for? The players.
I was going to say, I feel
the
bad
players
for the
must be so pissed off. And I hope the players know. And I don't think they do. They don't fucking pay attention to ticket prices. They have no idea what's going on. And I want to make it known to them. I'm going to tweet at them. I'm going to do everything. Hey, we're sorry there were no Rays fans there last night. It was all Cardinals fans. Don't get pissed off at your fan. Get pissed off at your owner for trying to get $60 for a freaking outfield ticket. Yeah, good for you. You made your money off your Cardinals fans. Good for you. You happy about that? There's no Rays fans. And then you'll come out in the media and probably bitch about that because nobody's going to talk about it. We know. We talk about it. We see the prices. And, I've never seen an owner like this. It won't sign off on the Tropicana Field redevelopment for the last 2 years. You're holding the entire city of St. Petersburg and all those people hostage. You don't give a shit. The same thing in Tampa. You could have got that deal done 3 years ago. You got the money, you got the revenue, you got the market, but you don't give a rat's ass about anybody but yourself and your own money. You screwed your partners out of money. You're screwing the fans out of money. You're screwing the fans out of a new stadium. And for some reason, nobody in this market talks about it except us and the fans. And it's awful. You price your own fans out of the market, all those other things you're doing, and people still treat you. And the local newspaper is giving you stories like, oh, where do you go shopping for your Italian subs? What's your favorite coffee? Like you're some beloved owner, and won't ask him any hard questions about what the hell he's doing. Makes me sick. Makes me sick to my stomach. All right, rant over. Let's get to the good part. They're down 2-1 last night.
I don't know how you even transition out of that.
I get emotional about it. It's so anyway. So on the field, while they priced their own fans out of the market, and all the Cardinals fans were there getting ready to celebrate a 2-1 win in the 10th inning, and Taylor Walls down to his last strike, 2-2. This is what happened.
Pitch swung on and a shot deep down the right side. Is it fair? Hits the foul pole. Rays win it. Taylor Walls walks it off with a home run right down off the foul pole, and the Rays pull it out.
And the 150 Rays fans that were there go nuts, while the Cardinal fans take their L and walk out of the building together. Great win, Rays. Great win. Great job, Taylor Walls, who's single-handedly won. I won't say single-handedly, but he's had some big moments for a guy that's batting like 112 and made more errors than we would care to admit. Even though he's a great defensive player, he'll be fine. He's got the knack for the big moment, does he not?
I think that's his second walk-off shot of the year, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
second, if not third.
Yeah.
I know at least two.
I mean, yeah, honestly, yesterday I was trying to follow the game on Twitter, what was going on while I was in the Lightning, and from where the spots on Twitter where I could find actual Rays coverage, because obviously the Lightning were taking over everything last night. All I saw was like the Rays looked like a dead team. It was one of those games where they just could not find their way to get on base, to get a hit. I looked at one point in the seventh inning. I think the Rays had one hit, I think, and I'm like, oh, it's one of these games, huh?
Yep.
Guess we're not missing much.
Dead in the water.
Which Jeffrey Springs gave him a nice outing again, sixth inning shutout ball. Thought the Rays were done, and then there you go in the 10th inning out of nowhere, Taylor Walls. The Rays have a flair for the dramatic.
They do.
They have a flair for the dramatic and able to pull a game out that maybe they don't deserve to win, but it doesn't matter if you deserve whatever. You won the game, you take it. I wish it did feel last night like big game for the Lightning. Obviously, there's going to be a small crowd no matter who the Rays play yesterday, obviously. But yeah, I had people that were there and they were telling me, yeah, it's 80%, 85% Cardinal fans here.
Yeah.
And they were like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, not really. But I do feel bad for the players because last night they felt like second fiddle, like almost third fiddle, because at Amalie, did you see the stars that were there last night?
Yeah.
Every time they showed the Jumbotron, I'm like, holy crap,
yeah,
man.
Derek Brooks, Booger McFarland, and Rondé Barber lit the Tesla coils last night. Got everybody rolling. Titus was there. Titus O'Neil was there last night.
Biggie, I know you probably know who Biggie is, but he was the other wrestler with the neck brace.
Oh, with the neck brace, yes. Yeah.
It's Biggie.
No, I don't know. Biggie?
Biggie.
Oh, Big E.
Big E.
Okay, not Big E.
Big E.
Because it wouldn't be Biggie.
Former WWE champion not too long ago here.
Oh, okay.
Big deal. Big deal in my world.
Okay. Big deal.
The Nate was also there. The Nate.
Oh, Rick Flair.
Did you not see Rich Flair?
I did see, yeah.
About to say, they showed him. Did you see what they showed him the first time? He had a beer in his hand, then he gave it to somebody, and he's like, he did his whole spiel and everything. Woo! The whole 9 yards. And then after the Hagel fight, they immediately showed Ric Flair, and of course, he was loving it.
Yeah.
I mean, you put that guy in the building every game.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the stars come out because you know why? They know how to do it. The Lightning know how to do it. Tom Brady in the hype video.
Yeah, no,
we didn't mention
I
that.
thought of you when I saw Tom Brady in the hype
I don't know
video.
if that's a recording from last year, but
I think it was. but
because he's been a little busy. But so be it. But the Stars were out last night, and this is what we do. We bring everybody together. And it's the template for a local sports franchise. You wish the Rays would just take a smidgen of it.
Well, at least the Rays won yesterday.
And they won. Hey, big night for Tampa Bay. A walk-off and then a 4-1 drubbing of the Rangers. And
mini camps here.
But he's talking about the Buccaneers.
We're right here on their TV right now.
Yeah. And listen, I respect the Saints. But Damian Woody is like, hey, don't pencil in the Bucs for the NFC South. And he's right. The Saints have a little easier schedule than the Bucs do. They'll be good. The Saints will be good. The Bucs got to find a way to beat the Saints. Yeah. They do. They really do.
I for one just love the fact that it's the summer. It's usually a little more of a dead time. But yeah, we have so much to get into with all three teams.
We really do. And we're going to get into I love the Leonard Fournette quote yesterday. We'll play a little bit later on where Brady. How about this? Brady is texting Fournette when he found out he was up visiting New England. And you had an interesting thought on this. You think that the Bucs? You think GM Brady told Jason Light get the deal done with Leonard Fournette
100%
to keep him away from the Patriots?
100%.
I think so too. I don't think Jason Light was going to spend that kind of money on Leonard Fournette. But you know what? I think they were right to listen to the GM, the actual GM Brady. I think they were correct. I know Jason.
Now you're coming around. Now you're coming around.
Well, I think the contract to me was a little eye-opening. I think it was a little bit more money than I thought that the Bucs were willing to spend. But I do think it's the right thing to do. I think that position is way more important than you do. I think having somebody he can trust in protection, which is the biggest thing for him. That's the biggest thing for him, to trust. Because in the back of your mind, when he had Ronald Jones in there, he didn't know it. And this is what Brady's all about. He doesn't want to get hit. He can't get hit. He's too freaking old for that. He knows this. It's not being a wuss. It's being a realist. If he gets hit, he ain't playing. It's that simple. And you can't have a running back in there that 50% of the time he's going to whiff on a linebacker and going to get your quarterback killed. And if that's in the back of your mind when you call the play and you see Ronald Jones in there and you say, F that, give me Fournette, because I know he's going to stick his nose in there and he's going to make the block and I don't have to worry about that linebacker. It's a huge deal. And by the way, he's a damn good running back. And by the way, he catches the football really, really well. So I know Light probably thought he could go out and get somebody else and that they could replace for a lot less money, and maybe they could. But I think Brady was absolutely correct in forcing their hand. If they did, maybe Jason Light was going to do that anyway. I don't know, but they got it done, and I think Brady had a huge hand in it. That little quip tells me that.
And I don't have a problem with Brady having a hand in it at all.
No,
I don't, because you're literally maximizing 1 year. Right. You give him everything you want.
Absolutely. 100%.
But taking Brady out of the equation, do I want Leonard Fournette on a 3-year deal at that price? No, I don't.
It's more 2-year deal.
Maybe.
No.
Just for me personally, I don't. No. I'm not a fan. Rachaad White being drafted as high as he was, the best receiving back in the draft, tells you that Jason Light clearly that's the guy they want to groom into that role.
Yep.
I can't see why Jason Light, after giving the Doug Martin contract out, would want to give another similar contract out like he just did.
Drafting Ronald Jones and drafting Jeremy McNichols.
Yeah. So
but
I think it's something to consider. Round. But again, it's 1 year. It's 1 year. You maximize one really good more year out of Leonard Fournette, and it's okay.
Yeah. Look, this Bucs team, I think, is right where they need to be. And I wanted to comment on watching Get Up this morning when any of these national shows talk about the Bucs. And no disrespect to them, because I know they don't follow the team like we do, but they're supposed to be more learned than they are. And what some of the, all this idea at ESPN that this offensive line is in shambles. They lost Kappa and they lost Ali Marpet, and that the front part of that offensive line is so important to Tom Brady. Shaq Mason played with Brady, for God's sakes. He's the 5th best guard in the game. It's not like you're replacing Ali Marpet with a bum. You're replacing him with a top 5 guard according to PFF. He's a monster. I mean, and Brady knows him and has played with him. We act like, we got 2 rookies plugging in. No. And you got another guy in Aaron Stinney who's a veteran and has played well and won him a damn Super Bowl at the right guard position. and you got, you drafted a guy in the second round, and you got Hainsey you drafted in the third round. I mean, if you can't find a guy to step up and play in those situations, I mean, to say that the offensive line, you still have the best right tackle in football. You have one of the best centers in football. Say what you want about Donovan Smith. He's one of the better left tackles in the game. And durable. It's ridiculous to say. And all the people that they brought back, and they're like, look at all the people that they lost. They lost O.J. Howard. What? What? Are you kidding me?
O.J. Howard and Ronald Jones, to all respect to them, are not losses.
No, they're not. Nor is bitching Jordan Whitehead.
I hate to break it to you. And by the way, before we go to break, Leonard Fournette was not the biggest guy to come back or sign back.
Yeah, which they said it was.
Let's get that out there too.
I'll start with Chris Godwin.
I'll go with Carlton Davis.
Carlton Davis, number 2.
I could make
have a man-to-man corner.
I can make the argument of having a Logan Ryan back there to push the young guys.
Absolutely. I can make Shaq Mason.
Akeem Hicks, making it to where Logan Hall doesn't have to play 80% of the snaps. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they're all important. But anyway. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, the Bull, Big Bad Brad. Brad Johnson's going to join us as he gets set to be inducted into the Tampa Sports Club Hall of Fame tonight. We'll take a walk down memory lane. And too bad we wouldn't have him in the house last night to join his brethren from the Super Bowl that like the Tesla coils. Maybe Game 6. Stay with us.
The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo, who I'm just texting with, and says he is loving going to these Bolts game and enjoying this incredible comeback that they have tied up the series. And if you have any issues with construction defects at your home or dealing with the homeowner's insurance claims, sinkhole claims, water damage, whatever, he is the expert. He will fight for you and recovered millions for his clients. He can do the same for you. If you don't know if you have a case or not, make the free call. Just go to the website, PalermoPA.com, PalermoPA.com. Email them or call them. and set up your free consultation. He'll let you know whether you have a case or not, and get the top dollar from your home insurance company. You need an attorney representing you in these cases because they do not want to give you what your claim is worth. So get an attorney on your side, and the best in the business is Chris Palermo at PalermoPA.com. All right, let's welcome in a longtime friend, Super Bowl champion quarterback for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and will be inducted into the Tampa Sports Club Hall of Fame tonight, and I get to MC it, which means I have some really good zingers waiting for my man, Brad Johnson, who joins us now. What's up, Bull? How are you?
Hey, doing great, JP. I got my wife, Nikki, here. We're Tifton. We're coming in like Smoke and the Bandit. Down in Tampa tonight. So, but things are great, though. Appreciate having me on the show.
Hey, listen, when you go under those bridges near Tifton on 75 there, look up top. That's where they're at. And they're you know the deal. Oh, I spent about, when I lived in Atlanta, I spent about $2,000 in speeding tickets on the way back to Tampa. So, yeah, take it easy, my friend.
Yeah. They're out there. The cops are out there today. So
absolutely.
Cruise control.
There you go. Well, thanks for joining us, partner. And tonight you go into the Tampa Sports Club Hall of Fame, and you get to reminisce a little bit about winning that Super Bowl. What has it been? 20 years now, right? 20 years since you guys won that Super Bowl, and you're all still thick as thieves. Rondé and Derek and Booger were at the Lightning game last night, lighting up the Tesla coils. Do you guys have anything planned for the 20th anniversary here?
I'm kind of waiting to hear about it. So I don't know. Hopefully we did a 10-year reunion, came back, and the Bucs kind of recognized everybody, and we've been back for a bunch of reunions with Ring of Honors and those kind of things. So, but all these guys, we kind of see each other at different golf tournaments and those kind of things, and stay in touch. So, but it's pretty cool when you look back at the guys we had on that team. 3 of them made Hall of Fame, obviously with Lynch, Brooks, and Sapp, and hopefully Rondé and Simeon Rice get in there at some point. But it's awesome. We think about the coaches and players we had, and then just the bond that we've kind of, when you win a Super Bowl like that, you'll be together for life. So it's pretty awesome.
And Monty Kiffin's going in tonight. The Glazers are going to be recognized for a Lifetime Achievement Award. So it's going to be a big night for the Bucs tonight.
It really is. I mean, it's great for them to honor everybody through this Tampa Bay Sports Club, and Mark Donahue's been the biggest benefit on my part. But it really just, bringing back the celebrities, the great teams, the great coaches, the great players, and everybody that's impacted Tampa. So I'm honored to be there tonight and look forward to telling some stories and having a good time.
Absolutely. And speaking of stories, and Monty's going in tonight. You'll see him tonight. What was it like when you first met the mad scientist, Monty Kiffin, and then going up against his defenses every day in practice? And you guys were what made you better, right? Just the competitiveness in practice.
Well, I actually played. I was with Monty Kiffin up in Minnesota when I first got drafted.
That's
there.
Right.
So I knew the mad scientist there. We called him the professor on Back to the Future. The professor with his hair all wigged out and everything. So, but I remember he's competitive, loved it, loved being with the guys, loved competing every day. And that defense that he had was one of the greatest, not of that year, but really of one of the greatest defenses of all time over a period of time. So, but I remember when Gruden came in there, our goal was to declare war against Monty Kiffin and Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks and John Lynch, because they set the barometer of what it was going to take to be great. And obviously we all did it together. But it's awesome to see Monty get inducted tonight also.
Well, listen, for those of us who remember and cover the team, we always talk about the defense, and I'm not saying that you any of the people in offense get upset when we talk about the defense, but you want your due. And I would give you the floor here to say, you know what? The offense was pretty damn good at times too. You guys you brought it to a whole nother level. It was the missing piece through the Dungy years to have an offense that could score points when you needed to score. And you did. And there people forget how explosive you guys were at times in that Super Bowl season. So here's the floor. Brag a little bit about your offense.
Well, I think the ring says it all.
There you go.
But to be honest with you, but in perception, sometimes it becomes reality, and people kind of forget. People kind of forget that I was the number one quarterback in that year in the NFC, and they kind of forget, what we accomplished that year. They forget all the guys that was on that offense. And obviously you had a great John Gruden calling plays. We impacted our offense, brought in a bunch of players, brought in Joe Jurevicius and Kenny McCardell and Ricky Dudley and Ken Dilger and Robin Oben and Kerry Jenkins and Michael Pittman, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
I think he found the greatness of all of us. And so sometimes people get caught up in the stats. They don't get caught up in the winning in crucial moments. And I do think a lot of times we have big leads. I think when you have a lead, sometimes you run it out and you're trying to look for certain numbers. So the game's changed, but at the end of the day, we were a team that, came through in the clutch, beat Philadelphia up in the cold and the vet. Those are great memories, a great time for all the Buck fans. And so it's been 20 years ago, but to be the first to brought the Lombardi back to Tampa was pretty special.
Hey, Brad, this is Nick here. I think one of the greatest days games, Buccaneers history had to have been shutting down the vet there in that championship game. And can you kind of describe what's going through your mind when you throw that slant to Joe Jurevicius and he's running down that sideline? I think it's one of the all-time classic plays, history of your franchise. What is your thoughts when you're watching him go like that?
Yeah, Philadelphia had been our nemesis for a couple of years there, beating us in the playoffs twice. Actually beat us October 20th of that year, same year. So going up there in the cold, last game with the vet, that play to Joe Jurevicius, it was triple F 83 double smash X option, and basically it was 2 corners and 2 flat routes, and then Joe was running the option route over the middle. I almost checked out of the play, to be honest with you. There was I thought they were going to blitz, and I was either going to check to a toss or check to a little stick route. So I stayed with it. It came out beautiful. Joe caught the ball, a little 6-yard route over the middle, and then took it 73 yards. And to me, I know everybody remembers Rondé Barber because he closed the game down, and that was the moment that we said we're going to the Super Bowl. But sometimes you got to get there. Mm-hmm. And to me, that was the one play that got us over the hump in that game because we had a hard time getting a first down at that point. That was the biggest play of that game for me at the moment because it gave us the momentum as far as taking the lead and then being able to ride out the very end. So it takes all great players and great moments, and obviously there's no special winning up there at the vet.
Brad Johnson joining us here. He'll be going into the Tampa Sports Club Hall of Fame tonight. We will get to induct him along with Gail Sirens, my former anchor, Channel 8. Monty Kiffin's going in, the Glazers, Jose Fernandez, USF basketball coach, Allison Jolly. It's going to be a great night tonight, Brad. And I'll go back to the Super Bowl, the game itself. And everybody always talks about the 5 interceptions, but the offense did some really good things, especially right before the half. I think it was the route you threw to Keenan McCardell, who was one of the best route runners I think I've ever seen in the game. Talk a little bit about that throw, the connection with him, and how good he was in that year.
Keenan McCardell was special. Even when he played for the Jacksonville Jaguars, over 900 catches. Yeah. Tremendous hands, tremendous body awareness, and just really smart and tough. Without him, we don't go to Super Bowl. And so the particular play you're talking about was down there in the end zone. It was a play was called South Right, nickel 41, kill 374 Wasp. And basically it was one-on-one, so we went to the fade stop with him, and he was a magician at it. He scored 4 or 5 touchdowns on that particular play, but that was a huge part of the game in the Super Bowl because it put us up 20-3 right there at the end of the half, gave us great momentum, and then so we did score some points on offense that game too. You know what I mean? So
Michael Pittman had a great game. Talk about Pitt in that game. He was fantastic.
Yeah, I think he ran for over 100 yards.
Yeah.
He was an elite player. I love playing with Michael because he can run the ball, but he's a great pass catcher too.
Yeah.
Great awareness, a mismatch on all linebackers, and just fun to play with him. So I know he's got one boy playing with the Colts and another one playing for the Seminoles now.
That's right. Yeah.
He's one of my favorite players of all time.
Brad Johnson joining us here, and I got to give a little nod to your Florida State days as well. When I first met you as a basketball player and a football player, and you and Casey Weldon going back and forth. Were there times where did you ever stop dreaming about playing in the NFL and say, I don't know if this is for me? And you got drafted in the 10th round, I think, when we had that, and then you became not only a Super Bowl champion but an architect of one of the greatest offenses in NFL history with Minnesota.
Yeah, I was a 9th round pick, 227th pick of the NFL draft in 1992. So. I played 2 years of basketball. I was probably a late bloomer in football because I spent all my time playing basketball. But when I got benched with my best friend Casey Weldon at Florida State, he was runner up to the Heisman. We had the #1 team in the country at the time, and it's pretty awesome to say that we came in together as freshmen, and then both got drafted. He had an 8-year career, so it's pretty phenomenal to watch what he did. But at that time, honestly, yeah, I thought about going back to just playing basketball. I thought about quitting, thought about transferring. And then I thought, you know what, my dream here was to come be the best Seminole that I could be, and then hopefully give myself a chance to be an NFL player, knowing that I was a late bloomer. And then, so I didn't give up. And I had certain people believe in me, but the work ethic and the belief, I never gave up on that. And then it's, I think in life, in sports, I think the biggest thing you need to ask about people is what ring of fire, what adversity have they been through in their life? And that was definitely a high ring of fire for me to go through. And so it kind of propelled me to have a 17-year career.
Who was it that believed in you at the NFL level that gave you your first real shot? Was it Billick?
Well, honestly, the guy that drafted me first was a guy named Jack Burns. He recruited me out of the University of Louisville from Black Mountain, North Carolina, and kept up with my career. Was kind of taking me on as a project that time. And they had Rich Gannon, Wade Wilson, and Sean Salisbury with the quarterbacks. And so he grew me. But I was under one system for 7 years with Brian Billick, and then 2 years with Norv Turner, then 1 year with Dungy, then obviously John Gruden. I think the belief he gave in me and confidence he gave in me was a big deal too.
Yeah, tell me about when you were acquired by the Bucs. Tell that story, how that whole thing went down.
You talking about when I first came here?
Yeah, to the Buccaneers.
Tampa?
Yeah.
Rich
McKay.
It was really interesting. At the time, everybody assumed I was going to Baltimore because I'd been with Brian for 7 years and great relationship, and they just won a Super Bowl. And but I was going through the contract negotiations, and so the best contract security-wise was Tampa Bay. So that was a plus. And then the other one really with my wife, Nikki, and my agent Phil, they're like, man, you ought to go to a place that's never won it before and be the first one to have done it for that franchise. I think the last time a Super Bowl had been won in the state of Florida was 72 and 73 with Bob Griese with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So I knew it was the right fit. I'd been with Tony Dungy for 3 years and in Minnesota. So I actually met him at a breakfast at DirecTV breakfast. Is actually, I think, in St. Pete. And so I got up early. The breakfast was like 6:30 in the morning. And so I made my wife, Nikki, go with me. And then we met Tony. He was one of the speakers there too. And I said, Tony, I really want to come here. I want to be a Buccaneer. And that was tampering on my behalf. And so you know how Tony is. Tony didn't say a word.
Right.
He did not say. All he did is he looked and says, "Are you both in?" And we said, "We're both in." And that was it. Then Rich McKay and D'Angelo and Tim Ruskell and all those guys, they went to work on it, and then it worked out for me to be a Buck. It was a great fit. Thankful that Tony, and that relationships matter.
Yeah.
The people person business. And so that's where, I've been with Tony for 3 years. We had that trust, and I played against Tony in Tampa, a bunch, being in Minnesota and Washington. So there's just a lot of great respect on both sides.
And so take me through when Tony is fired and you don't even know who your coach is going to be, and long search. And then you find out it's John Gruden. What was that whole part like?
Right. Great question.
Yeah.
I remember in 1999 when I was with the Redskins, there was a guy for the Jets. He wrote this book called "Give Me the Damn Ball," named Keyshawn Johnson. So I said I never want to play for that guy. That book. And then I was watching the Jets play the Raiders on Monday Night Football, and I'm like, holy smokes! Look at that blonde-haired guy for the Raiders yelling at his quarterback, Rich Gannon. I said I would never want to play with that guy either. And then all of a sudden, I'm playing with both of them. I got Keyshawn in, and Gruden is my best buds now. And but it was awesome. I remember at the Super Bowl, there was a timeout in the second quarter, and we were rolling, to be honest with you. And at the time, and so I was there with my two buds, with Gruden and Keyshawn, and we were trying to go figure out what play we were going to call. And then Keyshawn says, "Man, can you smell that popcorn in the stands?" And Gruden says, "Man, it smells awesome. We got to get some." So we were talking about popcorn during the middle of the game, and but I love playing with Keyshawn, love playing for Gruden, and we couldn't all do it without each other.
In the middle of the Super Bowl, you guys are trying to cook up some great play on 3rd and 7 or whatever, and Keyshawn goes, "Man, smell that popcorn." Oh,
That's the truth.
That's funny, man. That
sometimes you got to smell the roses. Sometimes you got to smell the popcorn.
Great stuff. Well, hey, I got to ask you real quick and say a hearty congratulations as a dad, bringing up two fine young men, and Max and Jake, your sons. Jake, the baby Gronk, we hear he is, right? He's the next great tight end, both going to Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher, you told me yesterday you're very excited about this. Tell me about that process and also why you think that was the right place for your guys.
Yeah, it's hard. Recruiting process is really hard, especially for quarterbacks. And you go through that, and it's gut-wrenching when we went through it. But Max had a great year and a half there at LSU, 35 touchdowns and 7 picks, and just but you felt like the players just changes were being made, and sometimes you got to do what's best fit for you, and so in the process, the recruiting process. Obviously, Jimbo he offered Max when he was a freshman coming out, and so there's a really good relationship with him over time. And then with Jake, he was either going to go to Oklahoma, and then when Jimbo decided he would take both of them, it was a perfect fit for us. It's a really, really good team, someone over time, and so just looking forward to it. Both of them, they're roommates. It's like watching Tom and Jerry fight as cartoon characters all the time, but they're going to have fun together, just being with each other, and obviously with Nikki and I, it saves on the travel and having to split duties as parents. So it's awesome. Looking forward to being Aggie.
And what'd you think when Jimbo went off on Nick Saban? That was pretty fun. That was funny stuff.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know what I mean?
I think we all did.
Comical, and it needed to be said, and so what was said, and then everybody moved on. But glad for it,
Yeah. Well, listen, Brad, looking forward to seeing you tonight, and Nikki as well. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame and all of your success in life. And if you're not following Big Bad Brad on Instagram and watching his trick shots, you are not living, folks. So follow him, Big Bad Brad, also on Twitter too now, I think. So really appreciate you coming on. Thanks, buddy.
Awesome, JP. Appreciate it, brother. I'll see you tonight. Thank you.
Sounds good. The great Brad Johnson. He always, I've had him on, I don't know, probably a dozen times, and he comes up with the greatest stories. I mean, if you're a Buck fan, I mean, you didn't know those stories.
No, I mean, I was 3 years old that 2002 year, so don't remember much.
Yeah.
I've obviously watched every documentary on the face of the earth about it.
Yeah,
multiple times.
I got to go back and watch the Super Bowl DVD.
Oh, I love
News
it.
Channel 8 did one from all of our coverage. I got to go back and watch that. I think I have it in my library here somewhere.
Well, I got it if you need one. So
yeah.
I've watched it over and over, and I remember the first thing I took away from watching it was they were showing practice film of Gruden when he first got there, and they asked Brad Johnson, whoever the announcer was, he's like, "What's it like, practicing under John Gruden?" And he just lays back like this. He's like, "He's at full tilt, every day." That's what Brad Johnson said.
I think I'm going to screw this up, but he once said, I asked that question to him. He goes, "It's like every day it's like going in and facing a rolling blade of knives coming at you." I'm picturing this like steamroller with knives on it going over and over. And that's kind of like what it felt like, is he's just challenging you every day, full throttle, making you the best you can be. Yeah, you probably end up hating his guts, but he makes you the best player that you can be. I'm just pushing you.
Yeah, and you look at it. I mean, John Gruden gets all the credit being like a quarterback guru, right? And I think if you look over the course of his career, which quarterbacks did he really get it right with?
Gannon and Johnson.
That's
it.
I mean, Brad Johnson doesn't get
veterans
brought up enough, I think, when we talk about the quarterbacks that John Gruden made better.
Well, did you know he was the number 1 rated quarterback in the NFC that year?
Brad Johnson?
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, look at his number. Look at his numbers. His numbers show.
We never talk about the offense.
We just riled up the names on that offense. Look at the receiving group that they brought in there. If I recall, this is another thing I'll say. John Gruden, remember how there's that misconception, I think, it was Dungy's team. Yeah. And everyone no one likes to give
21
credit.
new players.
That's what I was going to say. Like Joe Juravicius, Keenan McCardell, they weren't on the Dungy teams, right?
No.
Michael Pittman, was he on the Dungy team?
I think Michael was.
He might have been.
Yeah. But I mean, Rich McKay and Dungy built the core of that team.
Yeah,
it was the defense.
I'm not mistaken that.
But the thing that Tony could never really get right was the offense, and Gruden brought that.
Yeah, and I remember the Minnesota game, as you recall. That's the one where Brad had maybe the best day of his career, the 5-touchdown game, and that's where the offense sort of flipped.
Yeah.
And from there on out, they figured it out. So yeah, and we rattle off those names. We didn't even mention Mike Allstott in the back.
That's right. Yeah.
Ricky Dudley at tight end, Dave Moore. I mean, they had there were some guys on that offense that people don't talk about.
McCardell and Keyshawn were McCardell. People forget how great a route runner he was in third downs, red zone. I love when Brad calls the plays out like it's yesterday.
I know. I wanted to know what the Joe Jurevicius play, because I think
he called it,
because everybody talks about the Rondé play, like he said. Yeah. That one, to me, like, you needed that one to get to the Rondé play.
Damn right you
did. The fact that he had the call lined up and he rattled it off so quickly.
And he almost checked out of it.
Yeah. And you kind of see, if you go watch the play, you kind of see him pump a little bit, I think. Yeah. And he looks like he wants to check. So it kind of shows that.
Double clutch. Yeah, well, he's talking about like changing the play before it even happened.
Yeah.
You think back on, especially in sports, you hear these stories and the decisions that are made in the split second, how they change the fortunes of entire fan bases and teams, because he checks out of that play, which he probably might, by the what the defense they were showing him, he may should have, but he just had a gut feeling to go with it. That decision right there, like he said, if you're watching the game, it was the same replay of because the Eagles went out early. Remember, they ran a kickoff. I think they ran a kickoff back and scored early.
Staley, right?
Yeah, to like about 3-yard line or something. They score and it's 7-0. And the Bucs offense once again is getting stagnated by this Eagles, and the vets going crazy. And they had all the momentum. You just felt, oh, here we go again. We're going to get our ass beat by the Eagles. And and it's just, God, how can we not? We just can't get over the hump. Then that play happens, and like he said, it changed the whole momentum of the game. So if Brad Johnson doesn't check out, if he checks out of that play and they just go to a little, they may get the first down, but they're not scoring, because I think Allstott scored the next play or the next couple plays. He pounded it in, and then it was, they grabbed the momentum, the defense got going, and that was it. So that quick decision right there, it's amazing how those can change the entire fortunes of something.
What a team.
20
years. I mean, I can't believe it's 20 years already. I feel like it's like he said, the 10-year anniversary. I remember this is when, I actually used to read the newspaper, the paper copy.
Yeah.
I remember the 10-year anniversary. They had it in the Tribune at the time. And I remember as a kid reading all of it. I can't believe that was 10 years ago and 20 years for the Super Bowl team. Again, another team that I don't think gets as much credit as being one of the all-time Super Bowl winning teams.
Yeah.
I think they kind of slipped through the cracks a lot. Maybe it's because it's Tampa, I guess.
It's because it's the Bucs, and the Bucs, I think, are still even today, even with Brady, I still think that their overall perception by the national media and NFL fans is, that's they pop up every now and then, but they're still just a crappy franchise.
Gronk in Man in the Arena, when he found out Brady went to Tampa, he goes, "Oh, Tampa. Oh, I forgot about that team.
Yeah,
very forgettable team.
Yeah." It's just so. That's why I love talking about, and the fact that the Dungy story is great. Like, Dungy wouldn't say a word because he knew it was tampering, but now breaking news: Tony Dungy tampered with Brad Johnson to get him here. Like, let's roast Tony Dungy now on Twitter, and he didn't, and all he said was, "Are you both in?" Which is interesting. Tony's like asking about his wife.
Yeah,
like he understands it. You understand that it's not just the player. It's the whole. Yep. You need the whole family. You need everybody invested, and just that whole process. Because I remember everybody thought he was going to Baltimore, and I was working at Channel 8 at the time, and I'm texting Brad or calling him or whatever we had back then, and he's like, "No, we really like Tampa. Really, this could happen." And I'm reporting at the time, Brad Johnson is not, he's still a possibility. And even when he signed, it was not met with like, bouquets and roses. I don't think there were still Buck fans who were like, Brad Johnson, really? And I was like, yeah, go look at the numbers. He's never gotten his due as a quarterback. You go look at his numbers and the numbers that he put up in Minnesota and Tampa. He's never gotten his due. Way better quarterback than people think.
And can you recall at that time, obviously, like, who was like the backup option? Like, if it wasn't Brad Johnson, it was going to be Rob Johnson.
Well, and even, Gruden, he loved him some Rob Johnson and Sean King. Sean was here too. Right. Sean was here too. And then, Sean was here that year. And then he brought in Rob Johnson. And that was, the big athletic quarterback, compared to Brad, comes this handsome guy from, not that Brad's not handsome, but, Mr. Athlete, everybody wants, and Gruden's salivating over the way he runs and throws, blah, blah, blah. I was like, come on. It's got to have a professional quarterback do his thing here. So whatever. But, it was a magical year. It was a magical year. And I also love what he said about the perseverance part of it, being at Florida State and, being benched for his best friend. I mean, that's when most guys just give it up, especially when you can play, another sport like basketball.
Yeah.
He was an unbelievable 3-point shooter.
I can tell he's got the knack for it. Watch the trick shots.
Still does. So he could still hit 60% from three. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some more Lightning with our good friend Brian Bradley, Lightning's first All-Star. He was in the house last night, and he's called this series from the very get-go, folks. So we'll get some more wisdom from the great Brian Bradley. Quick break when we come back. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.
Every play.
Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep.
813-294-7595, or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
We're having some fun this morning, as we do every morning here on the JP Peterson Show. We thank you for joining us. Our second hour brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC. Saw Dr. Lugo last night at the game, another big Lightning fan. If you are interested in getting a new doctor, get a new primary care physician, Christopher Lugo and his medical team there at Bay Area Modern Medical Center will hook you up. They work with some of our top pilots, keeping them in shape, in that cutting-edge technology and process will bring to your health plan as well. Everything is individualized. They'll give you a great diet, great workout. If you need testosterone replacement, they do that. Weight loss plans. It's all there for you. BAMMC.com. All right, let's welcome in our good friend Brian Bradley, the Lightning's first All-Star, leading scorer for those many years. And now we'll just put Nostradamus on your resume as well, because you called this series from the very start, my friend. You said the Lightning will be rusty early, and then they'll find their game. And here we sit 2-2 after two big wins. And last night was, as you said in the break, a beatdown.
Yeah, what a great win. I mean, Vazzy was amazing, unbelievable. I mean, I really didn't think we were in jeopardy the whole game, and we were up 3-0. They scored a goal for a shutout, and we made it 4-1. But Platt had a goal and 2 assists. Your star players, Stamkos and Kucherov, some huge plays. Hedman playing like he can, carrying the puck up the ice, blocking shots, just being a factor. But, I mean, this is the first game that I really noticed. The Rangers they look tired. After back-to-back 7-game series, their legs are starting to go, and we look really good. And, here's the other factor. The Rangers got 2 centermen out now, Hedo and Strome. So they're in trouble. I mean, honestly, I'm not going to kid yourself. When I'm looking at what's going on right now, injuries are a factor. Obviously, we don't have Braden Point, but the Rangers, they just going back to Madison Square Garden. If they don't win, if we win Thursday, it's over. They're not.
Oh, we lost him. We'll grab him back there. He just said we win. It is. We win game 5 up there. And, we have to remind ourselves that they've won, I think, 7 in a row at home, 8 in a row at home up there in New York. So, and they'll be monkeying around with the lighting and on Vasilevsky's end again. Sorry, we lost you there, but you're back, Brads. We got you?
Yeah, gotcha.
You were saying they win game 5 up there, and they got to find a way to win on the road here. The Rangers have won 8 in a row at home.
Yeah, the Rangers have been stellar at home, and they've playing exceptionally well. But you know what? Like I was talking about, Rangers got some key injuries now to 2 centermen.
Yeah,
I mean, you just can't replace guys. And you know what? I thought Cirelli's line, with Hagel and Korn played great. I know they didn't score, but at the end of the day, they shut down. The top line was Evangelball, bad or whatever, and Kreider. They didn't really do much.
Nope.
I mean, here's the thing. 5-on-5, they're really not getting many opportunities at all.
Not
the Rangers. I mean, they're relying everything on their power play and goaltending. And you know what? That can only last so long, JP. When you're relying on your power play to score a couple goals a game, you're not really doing much 5-on-5 hockey, and you're hoping that, Sorokin can just withstand the pressure. That's not a good formula.
Yeah.
I mean, and then now they got a couple injuries, and, the Lightning are playing with structure, playing with pace, moving their feet. I told you, if they play like this, they can't be beat.
Yeah,
they're just that good a team. They know how to win. They know how to play. I mean, John Cooper's coaching a great series right now. And at the end of the day, the Rangers' legs are looking very, very tired.
I agree.
And I'm curious here because we talked about it last time you were on, the 12-6, how that's worked for the Lightning. And John Cooper said that he likes it at home. He likes the 11-7 on the road. given the success that the 12-6 has had here the last 2 games, going back up to Madison Square Garden, do you still trust what he says? You go back to the 11-7, which would give you a better chance, I guess, because going on the road, it's obviously difficult you don't get the last change, get the matchups you want. Would you stick with the 12-6 or do you go back 11-7 like he's been doing?
Well, you know what? Whatever John Cooper's doing, it's working, guys. You know what I mean? So, I mean, at the end of the day, maybe I'd like to say something different, but you know what? He's pulling all the strings. He's got the matchup combinations at home. That was good. So, you know what? And like I said, the defenseman, who's not playing, the young kid, he's played really well. Cal Foote. I mean, Cal Foote to me has played as good as anybody in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Young kid, and he's just the odd guy out right now. But I really like his game. He got to a new level this year, so it's good to see.
And again, you've talked about Andre Palat and the things that he does that go unseen, but now we're actually seeing him. Another 3-point night last night for Palat. Just talk about his game and what he brings to the table and how he's just stepped it up these last couple games as the entire team has.
Well, you just saw what he does. He's a hard worker. He gives everything he has. I mean, to win championships, you got to have Stamkos, Points, Kucherov.
Right. Yeah.
They're world-class players, but you need your other guys. You need the guys that, they put their construction hat on, they go in the corners, they battle, they get the puck. Cirelli's another one like that. Hagel. I mean, Klorn. I know Klorn hasn't scored a lot, but I love the way he's playing. He's a big body, smart. Nick Paul, he's played really well, but Plat's he's just such a hard worker. He's won 2 Stanley Cups. The guys know what it is. And you know what? They just changed the whole series around. Yep. It all kind of happened in maybe game 3 and game 2 in Madison Square Garden in the last maybe 10 minutes. We started to play better. And you know what? Now we're starting to roll. We've got a rhythm now. We're really starting to play. And you know what? The Rangers, I don't think they have any answers what's going on right now. They haven't seen anybody like this before. I mean, Pittsburgh had Crosby out. And you know what? Carolina had some good players, but they just didn't have the goaltending. Yeah. And you know what? Vazzy's just been so sharp. I mean, oh my God, he's ridiculous. When he gets like that, it's hard to be beat.
Yeah. And we talked about this coming into the series that Carolina and Pittsburgh were out chancing the Rangers in their series 2-1, almost 3-1 in the Pittsburgh series. And they were just kind of living on the power play and Shesterkin, which is fine if you're getting power plays, but the Lightning suddenly have been very, very disciplined. And they were, especially while the game was in doubt last night, I think the Rangers only had 1 power play, if that. Staying out of the box and staying disciplined, that's a huge part of it, is it not?
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, the Rangers power play is the best in the NHL right now.
33%.
I mean, even better than ours. Yeah, so, you've got to understand, these guys are good, so you don't want to give them chances. But 5-on-5, they're not given any opportunities. We're dumping the puck in deep. We've got structure. We're playing with pace. We're moving our feet. And like I said, JP, you know what? You're starting to see it. I saw it last night for the first time. You know what? The Rangers looked slow and tired last night. Mm-hmm. And when you play 7-game series back to back, that's every other day. You're not even getting a rest.
Yeah.
And you're just going. At some point, injuries become a factor. Guys can't play at that. And it's like the Lightning, we've been talking about this all year long. When do the Tampa Bay Lightning, when do they start to play like they can? When are they going to, but you can't play 82 games in a regular season at that pace, blocking shots at that tempo. They found it now. They've got a good rhythm. And you know what? They know when to turn it up, and they just did it again.
17 blocks for the Lightning last night. They were tremendous. The Rangers were 1 for 2 on the power play, but that came in the third period. Made 3-1 at that point. The Lightning were 0 for 3 on the power play last night, so it wasn't special teams, maybe not as important, but this 5-on-5 play that the Lightning have just been able to shut them down. Is there anything specific, in doing it without Braden Point, by the way, that they're doing to Zibanejad and that group that has just stifled them? They haven't done anything 5-on-5, and is that just Cirelli and Killorn doing their thing?
Yeah, they're just forechecking hard. They're moving their feet in the neutral zone. They're forcing guys to make mistakes.
Yeah.
We're not sitting around. You play with structure and you play with a game plan, and you got X's and O's on the board. But at the end of the day, you got to go out there and execute.
Yeah.
You got to play with pace. You got to play with speed. You got to move your feet. and they're not giving any of the Rangers any time and space. They get the puck, they're trying to chip it. The Rangers are making mistakes. And you know what? When we play a good defensive game, we sit back, we score a couple goals, and we wait for the other team to just make some mistakes. We just pounce on them. That's why we won 2 Stanley Cups.
Yep.
We're not winning 2 Stanley Cups because we won 6-5 over the Edmonton Oilers, where we got Connor McDavid and we're going to get scoring 7 goals a game but losing 8-7. I mean, we have to play smart, disciplined hockey, and with, in defensive play. And, we're seeing it in our zone, in the neutral zone. And, it comes from all our D. Sergachev has been great. Chernak, Hedman's just an absolute beast. And, McDonough, he's one of those guys no one talks about. But I'll tell you one thing. Yep. I love that guy. I would have him on any one of my teams. He's amazing to watch. And you know what? He's a beast to play against.
And we've been talking about John Cooper a lot this morning, and we don't feel like, he gets maybe enough credit for the machine the Lightning have been. And he's the longest tenured coach, I believe, now at 9 years. Just talk a little bit about that longevity and how important it is to have that continuity in the franchise, because you see it all up and down the lineup.
Well, you know what? I'm going to just say one thing. John Cooper's a great coach. He's well-liked by the players. He's won in every level he's been at, from, the USHL to junior hockey in the North American League, I think, to the American League, to the NHL now. To me, I think it's embarrassing, and I'm going to say this, I think it's embarrassing that John Cooper is not won Coach of the Year in the NHL. To me, that's a joke.
Yeah.
He's the best coach in the NHL. I mean, you know what, for him not to win it, and some guys have won it back-to-back and different things in the last 9 years. How many teams have been better than Tampa Bay Lightning over the last 9 years? Not many.
None.
And you know what? John has never even won Coach of the Year. To me, I think that's embarrassing. And I mean, you know what? If John Cooper was available in the open market right now, he'd be number one in everybody's team to hire.
Absolutely, 100%. That ought to tell you who the best coach is, without question.
Yeah.
A little thought. I mean, we've talked so much about Kucherov, but I want you as a scorer in this league to take me through the whole. With Shesterkin was kind of stoning him early on chances with as aggressive as he was, and now the last couple of games, it looks like Kucherov has figured him out. He got the big goal, the breakaway last night. Great pass from Palat, and he goes 5-hole there. What's the mindset of Kucherov and as you as a scorer when you're dealing with, especially in a series where you got a goaltender? Does it become kind of a one-on-one mind game on where you're going to go? With you're both watching tape, you're both trying to figure it out. Take me through that process.
Well, the thing about Kucherov, he's so world-class in everything he does at pace, and that's when he plays his best. I mean, we saw him earlier in the season against the series against the Rangers, where he had maybe a goal, an assist, or a goal, but he was playing okay because Kucherov can just go on the ice and have 1 or 2 points. But when Kucherov plays with pace, plays with an edge, plays smart hockey, he can light you up. And you know what? He goes out there and he kind of slows the game down. And you know what? I tell you, he came in, Platt made a great play, walked in on goal. I think Sorokin thought he was going top corner, and he went right through his 5-hole. And I mean, when the goalie's guessing, he doesn't know, that's when it's in your head. Sorokin's been in our head a lot in this series. I mean, he was 5-0 coming in against us. Now he's lost the last 2. So he's questioning himself, what's going on, what's happening. Stamkos is scoring, Kucherov scoring, Hedman's playing great. I mean, that's when you start guessing things. And, he's a young kid. Remember, the Rangers haven't been to the conference finals in a long time. None of these players, have even been there. Like, I think Kreider's the only guy that's played with McDonough and, Callahan.
Yeah.
So these guys are all young. They don't know. They've never experienced this. This is going to be a good learning experience for these guys, trust me. But at the end of the day, I mean, they're facing a team that's won 2 Stanley Cups, knows how to win. And, I mean, you know what? We're turning it up to a different level. And I don't know personally if the Rangers can go there. And they got injuries now.
Yeah.
The 2 centermen. And, they tried to put Gaudreau in the center or the wing spot. He's hurt. I mean, he can't play with pace on coming from the 4th line.
Yeah.
So they've got some problems going on right now. Hey, I know the Rangers crowd's going to be exciting on Thursday and get the guys motivated, but they can only do so much. The rest of the 9 days is now in Lightning favor.
Yeah. And also, Lightning, as I mentioned, the Rangers have won 8 in a row on home ice. But this is a Lightning team that knows how to go on the road and win. They're not going to be intimidated. I don't think they were intimidated the first 2 games. I think it was more rust.
now that they've found their game, I expect them to play like we see in Amalie Arena. They're not going to be 25, 27 giveaways like they had in the first two games. I mean, the Lightning have shut that down. Their puck management is much better. I expect the same in Game 5. Do you think it'll be any different?
No, they know what they need to do now. They figured it out. The first two games weren't great. Maybe Game 2 at the end. Game 3 I thought was great, and Game 4 was amazing. And Bazzi's now turned it up to a different level. And I think the Rangers now see what's going on. They've never faced anybody with this pace and, this speed and how they attack and capitalize on mistakes. I mean, you know what? You can't do it unless you've experienced it. And these guys had their highs and lows and they've won 2 cups. So, I mean, they'll be ready to go. If they win tomorrow in New York, it's over, in my opinion. And I think it's going to happen. I think the Rangers are in deep trouble right now. I mean, they sustained 2 injuries, and it doesn't look like those guys they weren't even dirty hits. They were just kind of fluky things that happened. At the end of the day, we're missing Point. They're missing Hito and Strome. It's part of the game. And you know what? Their power play's playing good, so is ours. But 5-on-5, they're not generating anything. And you know what, guys? Most of the games play 5-on-5.
Right.
You don't play the whole game with power plays.
Yeah.
You play 5-on-5. So if you can't generate offense, you're in trouble.
Well,
and you can't rely on 1 or 2 guys. And no, they're not getting anything anymore. And you know what? The Lightning are bombarding Shesterkin, and he can only sustain so much, guys.
Yeah.
He's
getting worn down.
He can't stop 50, 60 shots a game.
No, especially as many as the quality chances that the Lightning had early on. I thought the first period they were just dominating and so many great chances in front. And you're right. You could just see Shesterkin getting worn down. Their whole team is, and they'll get a little lift from the crowd. But I think in the end, the Lightning will be very clinical. And even if somehow Shesterkin steals that game, the Lightning still have, you come home for Game 6, and then you got to go back up to Madison Square Garden and maybe a Game 7 and a repeat of what we saw. What was it, 2015? Game 7 up there. So
2015.
But let's get it done in 6. Let's just get that done. That'll be much better. Hey, real quick. You see what's going on in Boston, where you're surprised that Cassidy got sacked, and there's talk of them trading Pasternak. What the hell's going on in Boston?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I never heard Pasternak, but I know Bruce Cassidy. I mean, you know what? He's a good coach. He's a good friend. I played junior against him and played pro against him. But at the end of the day, you know what? If you don't win, you can pay the price. And at the end of the day, he's a good coach. He's going to go somewhere else. But Boston had to make a change. I just think they were like, hey, we haven't did anything the last 2 or 3 years, and it's not getting any better. So, you know what? They've got to make a change. They got to do something different. And you know what? I would be shocked if they got rid of Pasternak.
Yeah,
he's just such a good player. Because listen, besides Marchand and Pasternak, they don't have much. Bergeron's getting too old.
Yep.
I mean, maybe he will come back, maybe he won't. So if you get rid of Pasternak, you better get some superstar player back. But I can't see it. So there's no way in my book I trade a guy like that.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
No. All right, Brad. It's great stuff as always, my friend. Enjoy your trip to New York. We'll chat with you later on in the week here. Thanks, buddy.
Sounds good. See you Saturday or talk later. Go Bolts.
Sounds good. Man, what a win last night. What an atmosphere at Amalie Arena. Just phenomenal. I can't wait for Game 6 now.
I know. I'm ready to go. I wish we had I wish we had a back-to-back right now. I'm on a high. I want to see it again.
I was talking with a couple friends last night. Lightning big fans now. Kevin and Chris. Kevin lives actually in Orlando, in Lake Mary. He's a big money guy, and he's like, after Game 3, he had a bunch of people down in Key West, and they said he chartered a plane, flew up from Key West to go to the game and with 12 of his friends, and just loving it. Just, I mean, this Lightning team he never was he was explaining to me, because I'm not a big sports fan, but I came to one hockey game here, a playoff game, and last year and just got hooked. And I think that happens with people. I think, you go to some sporting events. If you've been to NBA games, he's a Magic fan, and you come to an Amalie Arena for a playoff game, this ain't no regular season NBA game. This is a freaking show, and it's as good as it gets. I mean, the whole damn show last night was good.
Yeah, I love how they mixed it up too. I didn't know that they'll do like something different. It seems like for every game.
Yeah. Oh, the
in
pregame
regards to the pregame.
Yeah,
it was completely different.
We use some same elements, like we have the tape piece from
and
from Titus and Vo's the same, but
the on ice graphic and the stuff they did was completely different from Game 3.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, to do those graphics differently for each and every game, and I don't think anybody else in the league does it, to be quite honest.
Probably Vegas.
They might.
They have a budget of like, who God knows.
They do. Is actually their production budget is, I think, 3 times what ours is, but that's what it costs to get jousters, I guess. But we put on the ice, and then we do specific videos for each and every game with specific sound bites, specific hype videos that incorporate what we did last game. Like I always do in the pregame, I do a recap of the last game, get the crowd hyped, and we go through the highlights of it to get, especially when it was a great game like Game 3. So it's fun. I like it's fun being part of the whole production and seeing how it all comes together, and just with the professionalism and the execution that we do. I mean, I was showing somebody last night the script. The script for each and every game is about 20 pages long. It's more of a rundown, and it's every graphic that we put up on the board, every contest that we do, every sponsored thing, every, in the DJs, everything is so like planned out ahead of time and then executed during the game, depending on how the game goes.
Oh yeah. I was there.
It's phenomenal.
I was there both Game 3 and Game 4, like 4 hours before game time. So I watched the entire rehearsal go on. I mean, it is a full-on production to get that going, and they rehearsed the crap out of it, and it shows.
It's a 4-hour live event where people, I mean, they're the directors and the technical directors and the video people. They can't leave their seat. Like they can barely go to the bathroom because it's nonstop. I mean, there's never if you go to a game, think about it. There's never a dead moment. There's always some type of audio. There's something going on the big screen. It's nonstop. It's stressful. Not for me, but for everybody else in that unit. They just do a phenomenal job.
By the
Incredible.
way, was not surprised at all. No thunderclappers last night, which I don't know if we're gonna have those again after our.
I will. I'll find out about that from the organization. I was glad that it never really made national news. It was embarrassing.
I know. I
love your enthusiasm, fans, but boy, that was.
Not a great look, and I wasn't surprised they went to the fans that make you kind of like pound them, I guess, on your leg, I'm assuming, or your hand.
Yeah.
I think it forces like fans though to be louder with their voices though, because a lot of people just fall back on this a lot.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why it felt louder a little bit to me.
Well, I think that's why we sometimes have to add the noisemakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to see dumbasses, and not everybody, but the ones that were down low and they throw it on the ice, players that got helmets on, still not smart. But this dude that I saw whip one from the 5th floor that ends up in the crowd, those things are heavy.
Oh yeah.
And the people down below you don't have helmets on. Like I can't imagine a grown ass man being that stupid, but I guess I should. I guess I shouldn't. I mean, I love our fans, but man, that was no, not smart. Anyway, hopefully we don't have a repeat of that. All right, we'll take a break. There's a lot we got to get into. Phil Mickelson spoke at the LIV golf tournament. Another 2 big names that can affect the Ryder Cup of 2 key Ryder Cuppers for the United States and DJ as well. Are they going to be able to play in the Ryder Cup now with the PGA? It's coming unraveled, folks. We'll talk about that. The Deshaun Watson thing is just really an embarrassment. We'll hit on that as well. And we've got some sound from the Bucks and Rays. Lots more show coming your way. Stay with us.
The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucks, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance. So do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799.
Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Brought to you by great folks at the Golden Diamond Source. Hey, Father's Day is coming up next week. They got some great gifts over there at the Golden Diamond Source. Guys like jewelry, too. I mean, I'm not a huge jewelry guy myself, but I do like my watches. There's a lot of great stuff there. They got great watches, by the way. Great selection of tags, rollies. If you're one of those collectors and you collect Rolex watches, they got great selections there and great prices. So check that out. You can check it out online too. They've got all their stuff online. There's a huge selection online, and then a big selection in there as well. I always like to go in there and put the watch on, see what it looks like on your wrist. It's like trying on clothes. It's got to be a good fit, and they have the best selection there. Lots of good stuff there for Golden Diamond Source for Father's Day. And for any time you got birthdays, graduations, anything coming up, it's a great place to shop. The ladies love it. They got great staff there, which is the best part about it for us guys, because we don't know what the hell we're looking at, right? Just let them pick it out for you. Some lovely ladies in there that will be more than happy to help you out and get you something that your lady is going to love. 0% financing. Always have the Diamond Savings Program where you can bring your diamond back and upgrade it, and you get full value for it as you shop for a new one. Try finding that anywhere. And, of course, you can trust them. In the jewelry business, especially diamonds, you're not sure what you're getting, right? You don't know exactly what that diamond is worth, the clarity and all that stuff, but you can trust the Golden Diamond Source to always have what they say they have. And that's a big deal, especially when you're shopping for diamonds. So check them out, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, this is the portion of the show where we have to talk about stupid stuff, but they're big topics and then they're important topics. First and foremost, the Deshaun Watson situation. I hate to quote the New York Times, but in this situation, it appears that they did an exhaustive investigation. And what do you know? The New York Times did an investigation, and the journalists there came up with 66 different incidents against Deshaun Watson, 66 other different massage therapists, and also found that the Texans were complicit in setting up hotel rooms, the massages themselves, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They talked to victims. We've seen the HBO special now where they sat down with victims who I think were extremely credible. And folks, look, I've been one of the biggest Deshaun Watson fans ever. And I've always thought of him as a great quarterback, an impeccable leader, just the best of the best. But it's pretty clear the dude has an issue, and it's not good. And this is a very, very embarrassing situation for the NFL, for the Cleveland Browns, for the Houston police. I'm sorry. How can you have all these women coming forward with credible testimony now of sexual assault, 66 different cases now, and you have no evidence to indict? I mean, I wasn't in the grand jury. But what I read in the New York Times, there's been crimes committed, and what I would say are very serious crimes against women. And for the NFL for the Cleveland Browns to say they did an exhaustive investigation. Did you talk to any of the victims? Well, no, but that's exhaustive. You signed this guy to $240 million guaranteed, and this comes out. The NFL clearly trying to cover it all up. The Texans trying to cover it all up. In my mind, the Houston police, I don't know what the hell they're looking at. How in the hell? I'm stunned, number one. But I guess maybe I shouldn't be.
In regards to the NFL, no, you shouldn't be at all.
No.
But I, for one, if you subscribe to the where there's smoke, there's fire theory, which more often than not, that ends up being true.
Yeah.
I mean, how much more do you need? It's there.
It's billowing on the horizon.
And I feel like when this started, I was giving, and maybe this is wrong of me, but I was trying to give Deshaun Watson the benefit of the doubt.
Myself included.
Before because we really had no concrete evidence of anything. It just came out of nowhere, and knowing Deshaun Watson from afar, you thought, no way, right?
Right.
Everybody thinks that. But what's come out in the last few weeks is just incredible.
Mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing. It really is. And the NFL, they suspended Calvin Ridley for a year for betting on a few games? One game.
On a betting app while he was suspended. Yeah.
I think we've all been assuming Deshaun Watson, he's going to get 4 games. He's going to get 6 games, 8 games, one of those. I'm sorry, but what precedent are you setting if you're going to suspend somebody a whole year for betting on a game, but somebody with 24 active sexual misconduct, sexual assault allegations against him, if he was to only get like 6 games for that?
Yeah.
If you're the NFL, like
joke.
you want to talk about morally, we'll get into that a little bit later.
I just want to
morally. I mean, and how's that right?
I have to ask this question: how is the dude not in jail? How do you, if what these women is saying, and again, at this point, in my opinion, I believe the women. The women I saw interviewed on HBO were extremely credible, and that's sexual assault. There's no other way to put it. And this guy is not only walking around free, but he's collected $240 million guaranteed.
Well, here's the thing. He hasn't been proven guilty in a court of law.
No, and he's not going to be. They didn't indict him.
But there's so many like active cases out there.
I think if any of us, first of all, morally did what he did. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
And second of all, from a legal standpoint, if you're those women, it's like, how does he get away with this?
Yeah. How does he get $250 million guaranteed or whatever it was?
Wow.
And he's going to be allowed to play right away, right at the moment, at least. I just don't understand. It's so hard to wrap your mind around it because there's so many active cases out there. I mean, it could be 2 years, maybe like minimum before they even get all these solved, unless he starts doing the whole settlement game.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go on. This is going to go on for at least a few more years of getting this sorted out. And if you're the NFL, how can you let him play with all of this around him?
It's unbelievable.
The NFL is all about protecting their image, right? The shield. You're not exactly protecting anything right now.
I think they protect their image in a lot of different ways, and put forth a lot of social justice issues.
For them.
What about social justice for women?
They're proving it with their actions right now. It doesn't matter.
That's not important, I guess. Other social justice issues very important, and they are important. But I think they ought to treat that social justice with a little bit more integrity. All right. What about 2 things that have happened in terms of the Bucs getting to the Super Bowl in the last couple of days? First and foremost, we didn't talk about this yesterday. Aaron Donald, $60 million for 2 years. Well, clearly the Rams are going all in as well, and they have to. They have to match what the Bucs have done. And I don't think it's a coincidence that after Akeem Hicks signs here, that Aaron Donald gets 2 years, $30 million each. So 60 million, I think it's $60 million guaranteed, right? I mean, damn worth it. No doubt about it. I was hoping the guy was going to retire, but you can't retire with that kind of money on the table, I guess. And so he's coming back. That puts the Rams in some betting circles. Now the Rams are the favorite to win the Super Bowl. And I can definitely see that with Aaron Donald coming back.
That is a unbelievable contract still
for a defensive lineman. Are you kidding me?
But again,
no one deserves it more than him.
But you have to think of it like this. Like if he was an edge rusher, nobody would bat an eye.
Right.
It's because he's quote unquote labeled a defensive tackle or whatever you want to call it there.
But nobody affects the game more defensively on the defensive side in the NFL, or has in the last decade more than him.
And it's not like this is some albatross of a contract where it's 7-8 years and like one of those bad baseball contracts. What was it, like a 3-year type thing where he got all this money added? He's going to make 90-something million over the next 3 years. I mean, you're talking about resetting the market.
Well, and don't forget, we are looking at a lot of these contracts and going, holy hell, what with Tyreek Hill and everybody else. Don't forget, the cap is exploding.
Yes.
I think it goes up $50 million next year. I mean, it's got to double because the NFL revenues doubled in terms of their new broadcast agreements that they've got in the last 3-4 years with all the streaming services and everything else and the different things they're offering, expanded playoffs. Their money, their take in television contract is doubled, and the players are entitled to, I think, 53% of total revenues. So therefore, that cap has got to go from where it was at $200 million to close to $400 million within the next, I'm guessing, 3 to 4 years. I'm just doing the math on this. So, so these $30 million contracts are more like, comparatively in terms of salary cap, more like $15 million contracts because it's going to go up so much and so fast. So keep that in mind, especially for these contracts that are future years. But still, this is the new NFL. There's no more sitting around waiting for draft picks to mature. You got to go all in if you're going to try and win. And it depends on where your franchise is, obviously. You got to invest in draft picks to get the premium players, et cetera, et cetera. But once you have that core, once you have your Aaron Donald in-house, once you have your Mike Evans in-house, once you have your Vita Vea in-house, once you've drafted those players, your Tristan Wirfs, then you got to go all in, give away your future draft picks, sign free agents, and try and get it done in that short window.
But isn't it so ironic how the narrative changes so quickly, or it could flip the other way just as quick, because the Bengals did it a completely different way.
Right.
And they were winning that Super Bowl at one point.
Yeah,
it was close at the end there.
Yeah.
So if they win the Super Bowl, are we still saying, yeah, the Rams, it was worth it? I don't know.
No.
So it's a gamble.
Well,
there's no doubt about it. It's a gamble.
They still got there. If you're on the precipice of winning a Super Bowl and the game goes either way, I don't think you can then go back and look at the process and go, oh, it didn't work. No, it worked. You got there. You got to the moment. You just, it didn't make the play at that time.
Point is, I think there's still other. It's not like we're saying it's the only way to win a Super Bowl.
Oh, right. But I think it's becoming the more chic way. Like the idea of, drafting a quarterback and developing him is maybe a little bit less, an imperative, as now go get your Matthew Stafford, go get your Tom Brady, go get your, let's see who's going to do it this year. Will it? I'm trying to think of. I'm definitely not Carson Wentz. Russell Wilson. Will the Broncos now be the next one that goes out and gets a superstar quarterback, gives up a ton to get him, and makes it happen? I think a lot of people aren't. I never thought the Broncos roster was ready to win a Super Bowl. I don't think this. If they don't win, I don't think it's on Russell Wilson.
I don't feel that way at all.
I've heard people say, "Oh, just add Russell Wilson." And the Bucs roster was ready to go with Brady. I don't think people didn't know it, but we did. We watched the team. We watched the 75 turnovers.
There's a big difference in having Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
And having, no disrespect, having Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton.
Thank you. I mean, but everybody, they're Super Bowl ready. I'm like, where? I don't see the weapons.
I'm not finding it.
The defense.
The O-line didn't have the pieces I think the Bucs kind of had.
No.
Just fill in the loose ends.
No, and by the way, coaching staff.
First year head coach.
Had
Aaron Rodgers.
The first year head coaches win all the time, right? No, doesn't happen. So
and the tough ass division as well.
Oh, this just
a little
in.
different.
Yeah, but people go, oh, it didn't work because of Russell. No, that team ain't ready. It's not nearly in the spot that the Bucs were.
No.
So, no. And Deebo Samuel is at 49ers camp, still doesn't have the contract he wants, and evidently still griping. Every time I hear these stories, I just thank the Lord for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Literally.
And seriously, I mean, who other than Mike Evans has a better case for not coming to camp and bitching and moaning?
DK Metcalf didn't come to camp.
Right. And I know he's still on his rookie deal. So I get it. Mike's not, and Mike's making good money, but Mike will make what, half of what Tyreek Hill makes this year?
They've only been in the league for 3 years.
Right.
Like, I'm so torn on this. It's like on one hand, I'm like, yeah, your prime is short. Get your bag when you can.
You got to.
I get it. To me, it's like, I look at like all those receivers. They're all grouped in together, right? They all have the same agent, I think. DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, Marquise Brown. I'm asking myself, after 3 years of them all in the league, how much better are they really going to get? And I think they've proven, like look at their yardages. They've all gotten over 1,000 yards, by a hair, by a smidge. I just is that worth $25 million?
Well, I thought it also depends on your situation. Like Terry McLaurin's 1,000 yards to me is way more impressive because the bag of quarterbacks he's working with.
Yeah, but Marquise Brown's an example. I'm like, I'm not giving you $25 million.
No,
that's why when the Ravens made that deal, the Ravens are a smart organization. Yeah. They know what they're doing.
I ain't paying him that. No,
not paying him that.
No, you can't. He's not that kind of difference maker. He's not Mike Evans. He's not
even close.
Chris Godwin. He's not a guy that's gonna. He's a more scheme guy, getting open and scheme guy than he is his. Now DK Metcalf. Now that guy's. I think he's worth it. And here's the thing. Here's just something that I think that the NFL needs, the Players Association needs to get right. These rookie contracts are not good. I mean, especially when you're like a third rounder, and you become, like Chris Godwin, for instance. Mm-hmm. You're a third rounder, and it's pretty clear by year 2 that you're an elite receiver, and you've got 3 years to go on that contract, and in that third year, you're probably going to be making like $3 million, and you're going to be putting out like a free agent receiver that's making $30 million. Same thing in baseball. When you have these young players that burst on the scene, like a Pete Alonso, God, who am I thinking of? Anyway, these young players, Rosarena, Franco, all these guys that are still, the Major League Baseball, you can have 6-7 years of control of them under their rookie deal. And they're putting out like a $30 million player and getting paid $600,000. The NFL's the Players Association needs to address that. When players are misdrafted, and they become key parts of their team, and they're still making, $1.5 million. That's just not right. Because especially because the careers are so short, and they're getting shorter, by the way. The NFL career is going to get much shorter based on the information that players are now getting on CTE. They can now do MRIs on players' brains and tell them how far along their CTE, because every player has it, a degree of it. And they can tell them how far along their CTE is and how much, and there's a correlation. We had the doctor on it at Super Bowl from Harvard that's studying all the brains now, and they now have the technology where they can predict how severe your CTE is. And I don't care how much money you're making. If you go in and get a brain scan done and they tell you your CTE is 30-40% or whatever it is, I don't care how much money they throw at you, you're not taking it. So careers are going to go. I think that's what's happening with a lot of these younger players that are retiring. So and they've got to address that. But, anyway, it looks like Deebo Samuel is going to play for the 49ers. At what price, we don't know. Another big story. Joe Madden fired by the Angels. They've lost 12 in a row. Here's something
13
interesting.
13 in a row after last night.
Is it 13 now? And they were off to a good start too. He had a back and forth with a reporter a couple days ago. I was reading it on Twitter, and to me it was no big deal. I don't understand the Angels organization here. I mean, this guy is a premier manager in the league. I mean, I don't know what more you need to see on his resume. Granted, he's not gotten it done with the Angels, but Trout's been injured.
Well, Trout was in the middle of a stretch where he was like 0-24.
Yeah.
Is that Joe Madden's fault?
No. Talk about an anomaly.
I mean, is it Joe Madden's fault that Ohtani?
He's in a slump too.
He's in a slump right now on the mound and hitting. I think his average is around 240, under 240.
Yeah.
He hasn't been as electric as last year. I mean, feels like I guess the MLB has moved on to a new shiny new toy. I don't know. I haven't heard as much from him this year for whatever reason.
No, he's not doing much.
I guess
he was early on when they were winning. He's hitting bombs and striking out 10, but hasn't happened. I mean, it's not the manager's
It's just odd though. Like when you have two world-class players like that, and I know it's like a tough stretch, but like it's relatively early. The AL, honestly, look at the American League. The American League has like 7 teams in it, including the Angels, who have a shot at making the playoffs.
Right.
Like, and to me, when you decide to just name an interim manager for the entire year, you just gave up on the season.
Yeah.
40-something games in.
Yeah.
That's all you did.
I mean, especially in baseball where, who the good managers are. Everywhere they go, they win.
Yeah.
And I know it's been a bit of a struggle with the Angels, and I don't pretend to know all of their personnel. I know they have a big payroll, but that's not always what it takes to win.
They've continued to kind of do the same things over and over of bringing in big money guys, and they don't work out. Like, look at Albert Pujols. Look at Josh Hamilton, Anthony Rendon.
I mean, let's look at Albert Pujols. I mean, who thought that was a good idea? And I know from the right side.
Old. He was 31 at the time. He still had a lot of baseball ahead of him, it seems.
With that contract.
Yeah, and it set the precedent for the contracts after.
Yeah.
But Josh Hamilton, who saw that
when you're paying a guy that much money, you got to put him in the lineup every freaking day.
Yeah.
And we're there, and we don't know. Were there, squabbles between management and what Joe wanted to do in terms of, we're paying certain people, you got to play them. That's not the way Joe works. That's not how it works with him, and maybe he wanted to do some different things that were not commensurate to what the GM was paying the players, because the GM pays the players. He wants to see them out there every day. That's not how Madden works. That's good, not a fit. So maybe that was one of the issues.
Well, what surprised me too, another one of the issues that the Angels have had, and this goes back before Joe Madden, is the pitching. They have yet to really solve their start pitch woes. Brought in Gardner
right
on a 1-year $20 million deal, by the way. Again, just throwing money at somebody who hasn't pitched, who's pitched like maybe a handful of times in 2 years.
It doesn't work.
I mean, he's been okay, but clearly not the Thor that we saw in New York the first few years, but they threw $20 million at him.
Yeah.
They just throw money at problems. I think that's kind of what the Angels' issues are, but where does Joe Madden go from here? I don't know. He's a little older now.
The Angels are 27-30. They're only 2.5 games back in the wild card.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
it's way too early to be sacking the manager. That just seems that there's something more to that story.
There has to be
something more to that story. Good God, by the way, the Yankees are 40-15.
Oh my God. Aaron Judge has 22 home runs already. He's on pace for 65.
And Toronto, I don't look at the standings at this point of the year. I just glancing at them today. And Tampa Bay is 8 games back of the Yankees.
Oh yeah.
The Yankees are going to hit a skid. They're going to hit a skid.
I keep saying that, but I don't know.
They're going to hit a skid.
Have you seen the rotation?
That's good.
I think their highest rotation ERA guy maybe has like a 3 on the dot.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Well, yeah, but they'll get injuries.
And they have injuries, and they're working through
them. Not in their starting rotation.
Not in the rotation, but some in the lineup. But
yeah,
they're just a machine right now.
They're a little bit more balanced club than we've seen in the past.
Which honestly, the fact that they're on like a 7-game win streak, I think right now.
Yeah.
It honestly, like the Rays took 2 out of 4 against them.
Luckily.
But they still did it. Other teams can't even beat them. The Rays found a way to beat them twice.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a really good thing for the Rays.
We're going to see a lot of them.
A lot
in the next. Here. Yeah. When do we see them again next?
I think we get it. We get them 6 times here in June.
Yeah. So those are going to be huge games. The Rays better get on their offense a little bit, but their offense is just dreadful. So as we kind of transition over to the Rays, last night we played Taylor Wall thing here. If you mentioned earlier, I'm not going to go full rant. You can catch it on if you want to go back and do it. But I had a lot of fans tweeting at me last night. We had an exchange about this, and we actually predicted it yesterday on the show after looking at the prices that the Rays were charging for outfield tickets, 50 some bucks with fees for outfield tickets, completely pricing the local Rays fans out of the market and trying to soak the Cardinals fans who, the Cardinals come here, once every 4 years or whatever it is. And they, Stu knew he could get, they were going to pay the prices to come. So he had 7,000 last night, and it was probably 80-90% Cardinal fans. And that's because he priced his own fans out of the market, which is just reprehensible on so many levels. But anyway, they did come back and win. But for the most part of the game, Taylor Walls with the 3-1 walk-off, down to 2 outs, 2 strikes, knocks it off the foul pole. Just amazing. And then you hear like this very muted celebration from the crowd because they were all Cardinals fans last night. So, but the Rays get the win, walk it off with Taylor Walls, who now has 2 or 3 walk-offs this year already. Very nice. Very nice. What else? Do we have some? Oh, yeah, we got to get to this.
I'm just laughing because, did you see Phil Mickelson yesterday?
Who is that guy?
What is that guy? I love this commentary here from Kyle Porter at CBS. It says Phil owns 3 Jersey Mikes in Orlando and rides his hog back and forth between them without a helmet. And on just some case, lucky lady catches his eye. And this is what Phil Mickelson looks like.
Do we have some sound from Phil?
Yeah, I had it queued up here.
By the way, Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Reed are the latest to join the LIV Golf Consortium, which is just now the PGA Tour is going to be put in a very, very interesting spot. And the PGA Tour has also said, because they run the Ryder Cup team as well, that if you resign the PGA Tour or go play the LIV Tour, you're not going to be able to play Ryder Cup. So now DeChambeau, Patrick Reed, Captain America, DJ, all not going to play Ryder Cup. Who's going to be left? Mickelson's not going to play Ryder Cup.
Tiger, you're up.
Yeah, Tiger, you're up. 45-year-old broken down Tiger, you got to go lead us to victory. And will the European Tour follow suit? And not, this is destroying the PGA Tour. I'm not sure I know how to feel about it. Here's Mickelson.
Some Phil from yesterday. Or I think maybe this is this morning, I think.
Yeah.
I said earlier, I don't condone human rights violations. I don't know how I can be any more clear. I understand your question. But again, I love this game of golf. I've seen the good that it's done, and I see the opportunity for Live Golf to do a lot of good for the game throughout the world, and I'm excited to be a part of this opportunity.
Can you just clarify what you're apologizing for? Is it you're sorry for speaking the truth about the Saudis, or are you sorry for the shameless hypocrisy of taking their money anyway?
I understand that many people have very strong opinions and may disagree with my decision.
Can you tell me if you've served a ban or are serving a ban with the PGA Tour?
I choose not to speak publicly on PGA Tour issues at this time.
All right, let me translate for you. The PGA Tour suspends players privately, and the players are not allowed to speak about that. There's a non-disclosure on suspension, so it works both ways. So if he were to go out and were he to say it in public, then he would definitely not have a future with the tour, and probably could be sued. So
you heard the pause, though.
Of course, he said he was without saying he was. That's exactly what he did, and of course he's suspended. I mean, look,
they don't pull punches, the English media, by the way.
They don't.
Those are some big questions.
And they're questions that need to be asked.
Yeah.
I wish we would be able to ask our politicians these questions as frankly. But evidently the president doesn't do actual interviews anymore. He just goes on late night television. What a complete clown show this is. All right. Maybe. What is it? 11:59. So anyway, can we play the rest of Mickelson? Do we have time for that or no?
No, we're running out. We're running out of time here. But all you need to know,
we got tomorrow.
Everybody's freaking out.
Yeah.
The PGA Tour just doesn't want competition. That's bottom line. So they created this. They used the moral argument to get people on their side. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. But let's cross off every tournament, every sporting event that has to do with the Saudis, Chinese. And by the way, the United States is now doing political prisoners as well. I mean, we want to bring morality into sports, and you can't take any, quote, dirty money. There'll be no games left. There'll be no games left. Can we get our effing politics out of our sports? Please. 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 For God's sakes. All right. Great show today, though. Incredible interview with Brad Johnson. If you missed that, Bucks fans, great stories, as always, from Brad. And Brian Bradley as well. Another great segment with him. Go back and check it out. Download the app, FanStream Sports, all one word. You can always get us on Twitter, on YouTube. Please subscribe, Apple and Spotify as well. Have a great day, everybody. Go Rays.